Hello, today I'll be presenting a scenario for Megaprint, which is a B2C print vendor for venues that operate throughout the United States and globally. They are a greenfield org, so they're seeking a new Salesforce org to replace their existing Salesforce or their existing SAP implementations. They are seeking to facilitate an additional expansion, unify different processes that I'll describe later. Um, they're unifying also their identity to a single identity provider. They'd like to create golden records for clients. Currently, they have the client records distributed across different databases, so they're looking to create a unified record for them. And then also they're seeking to automate deployments through a CI/CD pipeline. Some of the risks identified is that they will be relying upon the SAP SAP data for reliability and its own release cycle. In order for the Salesforce development itself to not be constrained by these variables out of its control, we're taking an API-led approach to integrations where we are not tightly coupling the implementation of Salesforce with the SAP release cycle. The assumptions I made is that the computer-aided drafting system can generate pre-signed links to images and zip files for later in the process, and that we're going to decommission this account SAP without impacting other downstream systems. Moving on now to the actors. We have starting with the internal, we have the partner sales reps, which receive Sales Cloud and Service Sales Voice licenses, and they receive Sales Cloud license for access to leads, opportunities, and outreach. The management of these PSRs should receive the same license plus CRMA for analytics for the same reasons. The technicians they're also internal, receiving Sales Cloud and Service Cloud license with digital engagement and Salesforce Voice for access to opportunities, to omnichannel, and to the chat messages. So digital engagement enables the live chat with customers. Same thing for the management, except that they additionally receive CRMA for advanced analytics as well. The internal users for the event sales reps receive sales code license as well. Your management receives sales code license for access to leads and opportunities. The venue operations managers receive Customer Community Plus for their delegated administration of users under their venue. And then the venue users themselves receive Customer Community License for access to their own records. The customers receive the Customer Community License for access to their own records additionally for the same reason. The CEO is at the top of the role hierarchy, rolling down to the VP of Sales, the country teams that include the event sales management, and the local teams that include up to 50 for the event sales reps. The partner sales manager and their representatives operate as the channel representatives that are managing the partners that they are working with. Venue admins and venue operations will be under those different channel accounts. Those venue admins will be assigned that delegated administration permission for the administration of their own operations for the venue. And then technicians and technicians management receive Sales Cloud and Service Cloud license. They also receive Sales Cloud license for access to territory management since they're going to be assigned to territories, so that they have shared access across different regions. Okay. Moving on now to the system landscape. We've moved the org using a single org. This will also have multi-currency enabled with advanced currency management for the backdated currency conversions. The corporate currency will be United States dollar. Multi-language will be enabled using Translation Workbench, which translates metadata for custom labels and Visualforce email templates. Within the middle of our system landscape here, we have Salesforce, which has the Marketing Cloud extension and add-on and integration using Marketing Cloud Connect. Marketing Cloud Connect is represented here, or Marketing Cloud is represented here through a connector. The DocuSign charger will be enabled as well as a managed package that will enable the payment gateway integration with Stripe. DocuSign will be enabled as well, installed for the e-signature capability. Salesforce Voice will be enabled through an AWS connector, AWS Connect, which is a separate system and integrate with Salesforce via a CTI connector. The digital engagement will be enabled for the live chat feature with customers, and then CRMA will be enabled for the advanced analytics capabilities. Internal users will authenticate using SAML via Okta, and Okta will be the IDP in this case. Okta will then federate entities with Active Directory. External users will authenticate using their LinkedIn or Google credentials. Those, once successfully authenticated, they will, those different social media sites will return an ID token to Salesforce, and the auth provider within Salesforce will validate it and authenticate or just-in-time provision them. The hybrid app as well will be enabled, and they will authenticate using the same method within the hybrid app as well. The hybrid app will authorize itself using OAuth plus Pixie Flow, and then they'll authenticate using OIDC, of course. There will be the enterprise data warehouse that will be provisioned as well for their setup for the migration of data from Salesforce to the data warehouse. There will be 3 different retired systems, including 3 different Salesforce org which have the disparate data across the different acquisitions that Megaprint has made. MS Dynamics will also be decommissioned, and the account domain for the ERP system, which is SAP in this case, will be decommissioned as well. On-premise, we're going to retain the print SAP for the integration with the ETL and ESB, and that ESB will integrate with the print SAP using its own agent. And then the computer-aided design system will integrate as well with the ESB for the and also the print SAP system for the print jobs. Okay, moving on now to the process here. We're going to move down to the venue onboarding, which includes the partner sales reps calling on venue prospects themselves, and then negotiating with the venue to then determine whether or not it's a good fit. They will first report the venue prospects as leads within the system, and then they'll use Salesforce Voice for the integration with Amazon Connect for the CTI and the outbound calls. I considered using Sales Dialer in this case, but since it is international, we can't use that. So, and Sales Dialer is only for United States and Canada, so +1 country code. The venue operators will be the one to first work with the technicians to build the virtual venue rendering with banner placeholders. They will then refer to Megaprint for the event printing needs. Venue operators will be operating within the system and working within a screen flow to create the venue prospects themselves. So they'll go into the system when they identify a prospect and then create a lead from there. When they're onboarding the new venue, the partner sales representative who owns those leads will then be converted. Those venue prospects will be converted into business accounts that represent the venues themselves. Then there will be a primary admin under that business account. That's the Customer Community Plus user. They'll have the permission set ability to delegate external users within their account. The venue can have a total of 20 different active users that are added. What we'll have on the venue account record is a field for the max users, and then there will be a Apex trigger for the ability for them to stop them from creating a new user under their account. Then there will also be a validation rule to ensure that only the max number of users are only editable by the partner's sales rep that owns the account. Okay. There will also be a screen flow for the creation of users for the external admins as well to use that. The partner's sales representative will then assign the venue to a location. Location is represented as a territory for the account. So they will assign initially a territory that will then grant the ability for the technicians to view the to view the account since they are going to be assigned to the territory. There will also be a LWC map that renders the print locations for the selection by the partner sales representative, so they will be able to view within their LWC the territory geolocations and them rendered on a map. The print technicians will then create the menu renderings. They'll have access to those venue renderings. They'll be able to view the venue based on their assignment to the territory. They'll also be able to view the territory for the print location. So there will be a print location per there will be a territory per print location, and the accounts will be assigned to those territories themselves. So they'll be able to be that way be able to be assigned to multiple different territories as well. The technician will then be able to create an opportunity when it does see an opportunity to create an event. That will then work with the venue operators and then create the different planner placeholders. Those were then recorded as a product within the system. The technicians will basically, when they're going into the CAD software, they'll create themselves different blueprints and imagery placeholders. What these will be structured as within Salesforce, though, is as price books per venue, and then products for the different banner options. So I'm going to rely upon the computer-aided design system to either make a call out using its webhooks to Salesforce to inform it of the different product options that are available per price book. But also, if it isn't possible that the computer-aided design system doesn't do that, we would have then the partner sales representatives and technician then work together on the different price book and product options and creating those manually within the system. Okay. The partner sales representatives will be able to view all other partner accounts, but they won't be able to edit all of them. They'll only be able to edit their own. So they'll have a regular sharing rule that will enable them to view all for that role. And they will be able to edit as the owner. Actually, let me say, since I do have the roles here, yeah, under the manager, the country specific. Actually, they're not, yeah, so we'll just share with it individual role. Okay, and so once another channel for the venues to apply for MegaPrint, they would simply apply by creating a lead via a Marketing Cloud hosted page that is exposed online. They will then be able to, when it does create a lead within that data extension for Marketing Cloud, that will then create a, that will then trigger a data section triggered email that will then email with the download link for more information. When the lead is then created, that will trigger a registered flow that will then create the event sales rep. That will then assign the lead to the event sales rep queue for that local team. And then we'll use lead assignment rules for that queue assignment. So it's assigned to the appropriate queue. When the lead is created, there will be a record flow that will then see if an account already exists. If the account already exists, then we'll just create an opportunity that is owned then by the parent ESR, which is the event sales representative. That is the parent account's assigned owner ESR that will then own the opportunity. And then if there isn't already an existing account, then we'll just assign the lead to the event sales rep queue. Okay. If the referral hasn't been picked up by the ESR from the queue, then we'll have a scheduled flow that will then assign the lead to the country queue, which is the management team for that country, so they can then pick it up. There will be a triggered email that will send via Marketing Cloud that will include a link to the documents that were created from the MegaPrint banner options that are available. Those are all documents that are stored within the computer-aided drafting system. what the what we'll do to ensure that we are monitoring, though, how many people have opened these emails up is using a monitor link within the with click-through rate with the Marketing Cloud email analytics tool. We'll also use Salesforce Voice to enable the ability for them to follow up with a phone call. In order to ensure that we are not losing momentum with even despite a high turnover rate for the event sales representative team, we'll set up in-app guidance on this site, on the sales console, as well as set up a sales path so that when the event sales representative is working on an opportunity, they can see guidance on that opportunity as well. When they're working with the customer, they will first convert the lead. That will then create the business account with the price book for the venue. Then we'll have an opportunity with the price book per venue as well, so that they can only choose opportunity line items for the price book, for that price book product. We'll move on to the next. The repeat customers will have the ability to have the images from previous events available so that they can use those as a starting point. So what we'll do is for the different orders that represent the different events that the customer is going to create, they'll create, first of all, an order. Then they will, when they do create the order, there will be a call out that's made from Salesforce using a fire and forget pattern that is via a platform event that will then send an order ID to the ESP. The ESP will then trigger a send with a list of image links from the computer-aided design system, and that CAD system will then return those links that will then be accessible to the repeat customers so they can view them for reference. There is existing issues with the SAP systems that have duplicate or unclean data, inconsistent data. So what we'll do in bearing this in mind is migrate the account data to Salesforce BNETL that includes a staging table that deduplicates, cleanses, and stages the data so that it is migrated in with a clean bill of health. The Megaprint system also will have an expectation that exchange rates can be backdated, so we'll enable advanced currency. And then also we need the ability for them to have that triggered. So on order closure, so when the order is activated, we'll apply the currency as of that time. Customers will also have the option to pay via credit card using their credit information that is stored within, not within Salesforce, but within the gateway. We'll have charge-in as a managed package that tokenizes the credit card information that is inputted, and then only references the tokenized information for charging a customer when an order is submitted. If a premier customer is paying, then the charge-in order will be discounted 20%. Otherwise, it will be the normal amount. If it is successful, then we'll activate the order at that point. Yeah. There will be a permission set. The permission set will enable the ability for the event sales representative management to change the customer's premier status. So that'll be a field on the account record object. The SAP system will need to be able to receive orders from Salesforce. In order to facilitate that, we'll just have when the order is activated, a fire and forget REST call out to the ESP. The ESP will then orchestrate the routing to the appropriate SAP system, and SAP will then receive the order that way. The ESP will store orders and retries during outages in order to handle the downtimes that are intermittent for the different SAP systems. So we'll have dead letter queues, of course, enabled for the ESP to ensure that we are not losing messages, and that since they are lasting between 72 hours, we also have the option of using platform events here. But we're using REST callout since it is a payload that includes variable values for the number of banners that are included, which may not fit the platform event body size limit. The system will also be able to route closed deals to the print locations. This will be done using the ESP. I will send the OLIs, the different banner options, to the CAB system. The event sales representative should not have access to other teams' data. They will only have access to since they are the account owner, they only have access to the associated contacts, opportunities, and cases for that account. And then they'll have ownership-based sharing rules to their public group, which there's 50 max within the public group for them. So we'll have just an ownership-based sharing rule that will share to the public groups for those local teams. And then we'll enable OpenID Connect for the authentication using LinkedIn or Google credentials. We'll have a CAD Canvas app set up within the system here for the ability for them to leverage the same web-based UI for each event customer that uploads images files to their events. The technician will then iterate on the different combinations of orders and order line items for the orders with the image links and instructions. When the order is then activated, they will then have a DocuSign envelope that's also created and gets routed to the appropriate signers. When the deal is signed, that will then activate the order as well for the cases where they are signing a deal. And that will trigger then the banner printing process, which is the final step in the process where on an order activation, we will send the details of the order to the CAD system. The CAD will then publish an event that will then create or update the asset. The asset will include details around the status and where it is in the queue for printing. That will include also the estimated date for where it is within that queue. If it can't be met within the ship by date, that will be triggered. That will be based on the asset data, be it from CAD and also from the order itself, which is the ship by date. And if not, then we'll return a Boolean that will show that it's not going to meet the ship by date, and it can be then handled from there. The technician is the one who handles any sort of issues with the ship by date. What they will be able to do is update the asset's print location. The print location is a lookup that will then refer to the print location asset account right here. That will then via platform event then update the CAD assignment within the CAD system. So the CAD assignment for that order will just be updated via platform event, communicating those details. Technicians will be able to view account level data, including orders, print jobs, and issues via their enterprise territory management. They already had access to the venue data. They will be the venues are associated with different print locations. The territories are represented by different print locations, and those print locations they'll be assigned to as territory members. The customers will have only access to their own records using sharing sets. The venue operators will be able to be assigned to different venues or multiple different venues using account conflict relationships. And then we'll have a scheduled SIN that will be able to facilitate the daily summary that will be needed to be sent to technician managers, and that will be done using Marketing Cloud. The banner installation is the final step where we have the venue operators and customers that will be able to download an app, which is a hybrid app, since it is something that will require that they need to be able to cache placeholder images and venue blueprints on the device. We can't necessarily leverage a tool that doesn't have offline capabilities for caching. The venue operators will be able to manage the event setup workload using the work orders and work order line items that are represented here. Then the assets will then roll down to the work order line items. The work order line items represent the individual's assets that may be installed as a part of the work order. Any issues that are reported, they will be reported with the case object that looks up to the asset. If there's an issue with the banner, they will just be able to create a case. That case is then assigned to a technician based on location. And then the technicians will be able to chat with the customers that raise them using digital engagement live chat. We'll have the ability for the communication or the cases to be also reported via email. We've enabled email there's case for that. During the setup, there will need to be the ability for it to follow an SLA where we have the event sales representatives that will need to be notified within a certain amount of time. This will be done using case escalation rules, and then they'll have access to Salesforce for reporting issues via the web or via the mobile app if they have the mobile app installed. The resolving issues will be done through collaboration with the venue operators, customer, and the technicians. There will be a shared set for the customer. Actually, customer has access to it since they are the contact on the case. Operations will have access to the venue operators via the account relationship with the case, and then the technicians will own the case, so they'll have access that way. Then the print locations will then roll down to the assets in the cases for the ability for them to view trends and locations and issue type. The partner sales representative will be able to view all customer issues and improve partner onboarding efforts since they'll own the venue partner account. CRMA will need to have data that includes 3 million history, 3 million records that are currently within cold storage. We'll just use a data set we'll just migrate the data set to CRMA for this ability to report on it, and then that will be enabled for that. And then we'll store representative. We'll store references to older employees that have been lost due to turnover as text values instead of as user lookups, or not instead of, but in addition to user lookups, so we have that history in place. But they should be retained even if they aren't active, so they just can't own the record. Finally, we moved on to expansion. They would like to prioritize venue growth potential based on trend analysis, event trend analysis. They'll have the ability to do CRMA and analytics on leads that are converted to opportunities and then to orders, to then extrapolate from there the report that shows the trends and the common patterns. And then they'll be able to report from the CRMA report within whatever format they choose. And then they'll be able to also send that off to venue operators as well. There will be a data warehouse for the CSV data that will then feed into CRMA as well, for them to then view penetration by country along with the event trend data. We're going to decommission legacy SAP systems. We're going to keep the order SAP, but by doing that, we're merging teams so that we can facilitate a quicker deployment and prioritize outstanding development that aligns with the business needs, so that we are spinning our wheels with the SAP replacement and development. Adding additional humans to SAP development isn't necessarily going to improve the velocity. It's going to temporarily, for at least a couple of months, slow it down to onboard the new developers that are being merged onto the new team, but it should quickly the velocity should return to normal, if not increase, given the additional development resources here. So it wouldn't be expected that within a couple months that we would keep the same velocity, but it will pay off into the future. And then for the ESP that is currently integrated with the SAP system that experiences frequent downtime, we will have the ESP that will retry after periods of downtime and also store dead letter queues so that it can then recover from consuming or system API downtime. Then we'll have, of course, a CI/CD pipeline established for the bug fixes that are made in that are currently made in production. So we'll of course replace any bug fixes that are being done in production with a proper CI/CD pipeline so that we're not making changes directly in production, that changes are made directly to one's own branch, that is branched from a trunk, that is then eventually merged with the trunk after a peer review and QA testing, and then or dev testing, and then it goes into QA. That's where the that's where the release branch gets merged. That's where the QA testers will be testing, and then eventually when QA approves, it goes into UAT testing process where UAT environment is tested against by the end users. The end users will then test against the stories that were developed against the definition of done, which is defined in the acceptance criteria. Once the UAT has been passed, there's then a final sign-off by business for a deployment that includes a controlled cutover of any data that is needing to be merged into Salesforce, including the account data, the case data, banners and products, and venue data. That controlled cutover also includes a delta loading in case there are changes since the data was loaded into the ETL pipeline. And then after that controlled cutover, there's a final business sign-off or smoke testing, and then sign-off for the production go live. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.